Hi everybody, uh, this is Dr. Kashish Kalra, consultant dermatologist and dermatosurgeon from New Delhi. So I'm working as a dermatologist with the Max Group of Hospitals, and I have my own setup in Jangpura Extension, New Delhi, South Delhi. And I welcome you all for today's Facebook Live session for a very important skin condition. I won't call it a disease, I'll call it a condition rather, called as vitiligo. So, what is vitiligo? We generally refer it as leukoderma. So, in a layman's language, so leuko means white, derma means skin. So, any whitish or hypopigmented lesion which has less color as compared to the normal color of the skin. So, mostly they turn white and maybe light pinkish in color, and this is mostly called as leukoderma. But leukoderma is a group of many other skin diseases which can have white lesions, so it is basically a layman term. So today we are mainly emphasizing on a very important condition called as vitiligo. So vitiligo, just yesterday we celebrated World Vitiligo Day, which was mainly for the patient awareness, and each person attached to this disease, and even the fraternity, they were involved in good quality of educating their patients regarding this disease. And see, if we talk about vitiligo, many a times we are asked in a practice, sir, what it is and why do we have it, what wrong did we eat, or why we got this problem as such. See, basically, it is, I won't call it a disease once again, because it is a autoimmune skin condition. It is an immune mediated skin condition where the melanocytes, the cells which make melanin, the pigment producing cells in our skin, they actually get attacked by our own cells, the T cells, which help for building up our immunity, and they are channelized in such a way that they attack your own skin cells, the melanocytes, and which leads to the whitest skin. So it is just a white skin patch on your skin. It is not something to be feared about, and the stigma attached to it is really, it takes on to the psyche of the patient. Many a times I've seen people, who cannot afford their daily livelihood. They are even ready to, sell their farms or something just because their daughter has a vitiligo, and it will be a problem when she will get married. So this Facebook live session is mainly for the awareness of those people who have vitiligo, or their known relatives or friends have vitiligo. So you have to understand, it is not a disease, it is just a condition of the skin, where due to some reason the trigger factors are still under study, and we are not sure why this happens to some people and why this doesn't happens to some people, even in the same family or even in the same genetic inheritance. If we talk about the inheritance and the genes, frankly speaking, a lot of research has been done, and nothing proper has been found. So you cannot actually tell that it is a genetic disease. Uh, Sometimes it can happen, yes, you might transmit it also, but it is not a rule. So how do we treat it and what can we do about it? See, the main motto behind this live session is that vitiligo is a treatable disease. It is not a disease which cannot be treated as it was supposed to be maybe 50, 70 years back. And one more thing I would like to speak about is that why this stigma is attached with this disease. See, if you go 100 years down the line, when medical science and especially dermatology was not so much practiced and people were not aware of it, so we all have heard about a disease called as leprosy, which is quite under control right now. So in leprosy also, in Hindi it is called as Kusht Rog or Kod. So in leprosy also there were certain skin lesions which were white in color, and suppose in a village, if a family is having leprosy, now leprosy is a bacterial infection and you can transmit it it is contagious. Though the incubation period is quite large enough, so it takes months or years to get, the other person get infected. So at that time people had vitiligo also, they had leprosy also, and at that time people, the doctors were, the layman was not able to differentiate between both these diseases. And at that time the stigma was very strong there. These patients were called as achut, and they can actually transmit the disease. So that stigma is still there in patient's mind, and we always try to educate the patient that this disease is different. It is not a Kushta Rog or something you don't need to worry about. It is just a change in skin color. But somehow, though we are seeing that in last 10-12 years the people are getting more easy with vitiligo, and they know that it is just a change in skin color and it is not a skin disease. It cannot be transmitted as such. It is just a cosmetic discomfort which some people have due to the whitish skin. And many a times I am asked, sir, if I have vitiligo patch, if I have one patch, so would I get it all over the body? See, not necessary. Mainly vitiligo is of three types. One is vitiligo focalis, where just one area, maybe one patch on your finger or one patch on your lips or one patch on your body can be there, and it can be there for whole life. Sometimes you don't even notice this. For example, if you have a patch on your back, you cannot see your back, and you might have it for life. So there's nothing much to worry about. The second is segmental vitiligo, where a particular a particular area with a particular nerve supply can be affected with vitiligo. A dermatome we call it. So maybe one patch on the left leg can spread only to the left leg. One patch on the shoulder, left shoulder or right shoulder, can spread only to that particular area. It won't spread to the whole body. Third is vitiligo universalis, where you have all over the body, and in that cases it is though tough to treat, but definitely if a patient comes early, it can be controlled. Second most important query which I am asked, sir, if I have vitiligo, so if you treat it and I'll be better, so would I get it again? See, it is a immune mediated process. Any autoimmune disease for that sake, even if it is hypothyroidism or any thyroid disorder, or it's other skin diseases like psoriasis and other autoimmune diseases, maybe rheumatoid arthritis, SLE. These diseases cannot be controlled for life. Nobody can assure you, yes, that if it's controlled right now, you won't get it again. But that doesn't that should not scare us that we don't have to take the treatment. The treatment is futile. The treatment is there, and if it comes back, you can take the treatment again. And one more thing, very important aspect, that what we should eat and what we should avoid. There are lot of research has been done. Like, it's very common in our country that people say that if you eat non-veg you can get vitiligo, or if you drink milk after fish, very very common thing we hear, you can get vitiligo. Or if you eat a lot of sour things, or a lot of spicy things, you can get vitiligo. These all things are rubbish. No food, no dietary pattern has been actually found to be that this is the reason. Though it is actually documented that if you eat a lot of sour things, then you might increase the pattern of vitiligo. But few years back, maybe 20-30 years back, this was practiced that vitamin C, the things rich in vitamin C, were not given to vitiligo patients. It actually lead to another disease called as scurvy. So to be frank with you, everything in moderation is right, and no food product has been assigned to vitiligo that it is vitiliogenic. So next we come to the treatment part, how we can treat it. See, the treatment modalities are mainly 3 or 4. The medicine works in many patients as such. There are a lot of medicines to be applied which can generate new melanocytes. There are fibroblast growth factors, there is tacrolimus, and there are multiple other options which are coming day by day, and they do work. The process of the attacking of T cells can be actually taken care by these topicals also sometimes if the patch is small. If the patch is big and it is spreading, then we have to use some immunosuppressive drugs also, but these drugs should be used with caution. It is very important that it has to be used by a dermatologist only. You can the home therapy, and some people they come to us because they know that this disease is long and they keep on taking by themselves. So it is not a vitamin or something that it will not harm you. It has to be taken after certain investigations done and by a dermatologist only, by a certified dermatologist, let me be frank. Second thing, phototherapy has a very good result. In Ayurveda also, Bakuchi seeds and all these things are used. So these are actually Soralens, and when they are shown UV lights, ultraviolet light. So mostly few years back the people were supposed to take this, and there are also topical application of Soralens, and then they were supposed to show sunlight because sunlight has a lot of UV rays. But nowadays in this era we have UV therapy. So if a patch is localized, UV therapy can be done at home only. There are a lot of home used PUA and narrowband UVB devices which the patient can use. And secondly, if the patch is big, like in a case of vitiligo universalis, there are PUA chambers there in certain facilities where you can use in a dermatologist clinic. And nowadays we have excimer laser as well for a particular area. For a faster result we can use excimer laser. And third is if the vitiligo is stable. So what is stable vitiligo as such? If the vitiligo is not spreading and there is a particular patch which is resistant to treatment, to these treatments, the medicine, the phototherapy which I mentioned, or to the laser, then we can go for a surgical treatment as well. And the patch should be stable for at least 2 years, because mostly it is found that if vitiligo has not increased for 2 years, 99% it will not increase, it will not recur also. So if a patch is as such, then we can use various grafting measures. The skin is taken from the other areas of the body, maybe from the thigh or from the buttocks, and a very small thin layer of the skin is used by various methods. Most commonly I use blister grafting or split thickness grafting, and nowadays we are doing the melanocyte cultures as well where facilities are available. So there are various methods to take care of this disease. It is very important that patients should be educated enough about it. It should not get into your psyche, because there is one more thing: stress can increase vitiligo. So I've seen people who have vitiligo, they take a lot of stress, and when they take stress it might increase as well. So it's not a good thing to do, and sometimes we have to use even help of psychiatrists, because such a stigma is attached to this disease, especially in females. And one more thing I like to emphasize here is about vitiligo in kids. So I see kids of 4 to 5 years old who have vitiligo, and they see in my consultation chamber their parents are anxious about it. So mostly I tell the kid to wait outside, and I just speak to one of the parent and I tell them, you don't have to be anxious in front of the kid, because it's not a disease, it's just a skin patch. But if it gets onto the nerves of the child, he might lose confidence in life. And it's very important to counsel the patient. Counseling is the cornerstone of the treatment of this disease. And through this Facebook live session, I only want to aware the people who are listening it, that vitiligo is not a disease, it is just a condition which is very much treatable. And if it is too much, and if it is not treatable also, you don't need to worry about it. It is just a change in skin color. So I hope this session is somewhat helpful for you, and thank you so much. For any queries, anything related to vitiligo or any other skin disease, you can drop me a message in my inbox. Thank you so much. Thank you.